Welcome back. Now for your 5-day weather forecast, we go outside to John Mace.
Well, early this morning we saw up to 5 centimeters of snow settle in some areas, with winds up to 25 kilometers coming from the northeast. If you thought your morning commute was a handful, you're probably not looking forward to the drive home. Another 10 centimeters of snow expected in some areas. Today we'll reach a high of -4 and will drop down to -13 overnight, and the snow will come to a halt. Thursday will be slightly cloudy, we'll reach -7 in the afternoon, with a low of -13 later in the evening. Friday the cloud coverage will stick around, we'll hit a high of -9, and we'll hit a low of -14, feeling more like -18 with the wind chill. Saturday we'll have moderate clouds and reach a high of -8, slight possibility of light flurries while reaching a low of -14. Capping off the weekend, Sunday will be mild with a high of -6, dropping down to -10 by the evening. Chance for up to 3 centimeters of the white stuff. And that's it for your 5-day weather forecast. The good news is the upcoming week's looking pretty mild, but it's far from time to hang up that shovel. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, John. Turning now to national and international news, the United Nations has denounced the Vatican. The UN's Human Rights Committee says the Vatican endorsed policies that failed to stop priests from molesting and raping thousands of children over a period of many decades. The committee says the church moved offenders to new locations in order to protect them, but that put more children at risk. The Vatican says it remains committed to defending and protecting the rights of children.
Well, Toronto isn't the only place dealing with an abundance of snow. Kansas is battling a record snowfall. Governor Sam Brownback issued a state of emergency yesterday after parts of the state saw up to 16 inches of snow. Brownback called in the Kansas National Guard to assist emergency personnel and free stranded drivers. Meanwhile, snowplows are dealing with 2 to 4 foot snow drifts in some spots. State officials asked citizens to stay home today if they didn't need to travel.
CN Railway's Teamsters Union has resumed talks today after rejecting a tentative contract strike notice was given by the union yesterday, and the earliest the group could strike is a minute after midnight on Friday. 3,000 employees, including conductors and yard workers, could be affected.
Security concerns are ramping up at the Sochi Olympics, with competition set to begin tomorrow and the opening ceremonies on Friday. U.S. officials say they are tracking numerous terrorist threats. Officials are concerned about Muslim fundamentalists in Russia and other groups carrying out deadly attacks. The belief from the White House is that the attacks are more likely to happen outside Olympic venues. Russian security forces have surrounded the area where events will be held. The White House says they plan to work closely with the Russian government to ensure a safe Olympics.
A Texas woman is set to become the 14th female in America to face the death penalty. Suzanne Basso is scheduled to die of lethal injection today at 6 p.m. Basso's lawyer says he will be trying to make last-minute appeals in order to send the case to the Supreme Court. Basso was found guilty in the 1998 murder of 59-year-old Luis Musso. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice says Basso lured the mentally disabled man from New Jersey to Texas by saying she would marry him. The department says Basso then led a group who tortured him and killed him.
And now with your sports, here's Darren O'Malley.
The countdown to Sochi is on. We are days away, so let's begin with your Olympic watch. Two-time gold medalist Shaun White is dropping out of the new slopestyle event in Sochi. The American snowboarding star says he's pulling out to focus solely on the halfpipe competition. After a Norwegian snowboarder broke his collarbone and White injured his wrist on the slopestyle course, some say it may be too dangerous. White says he wants to avoid the risk of further injury. Shortly after the announcement, Canadian snowboarders took to Twitter to criticize his decision. White is favored to win his third gold medal in the halfpipe. To the NHL we go now. The Maple Leafs kicked off their 2-game road trip in Florida last night, and well, it was a rather forgettable game for the Buds. David Clarkson made his return to the lineup after being sidelined for 8 games with an elbow injury. Clarkson netted the lone goal for the Leafs. Jonathan Bernier made 44 saves in the defeat, but it wasn't enough for the boys in blue. They dropped to the Panthers 4-1, snapping their 3-game winning streak. With the loss, the Leafs sit at 4th place in the Atlantic Division. They will travel to Tampa Bay to take on the Lightning tomorrow night. Elsewhere around the league, the Bruins defeated the Canucks 3-1 last night in Beantown. The Winnipeg Jets are still on a roll. They edged past the Hurricanes 2-1 for their third straight win. Carey Price and the Habs shut out the Flames 2-0. The Senators beat the St. Louis Blues in a shootout. Sens forward Kyle Turris scored the deciding goal. There are 3 NHL games tonight, but all 7 Canadian teams have the night off before lacing up tomorrow. The Raptors will be back in action tonight, and they'll be greeted with a familiar face. The Raps are in Sacramento to take on the Kings and former Raptor Rudy Gay. This will be the first meeting between the two teams since the 7-player trade sent Gay packing in December. Since then, the Raptors have an impressive 18-10 record and currently sit atop the Atlantic Division. The red-hot Raptors are coming off a big win against the Utah Jazz. Raptors star Kyle Lowry is listed as day-to-day with knee pain. Tip-off is at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. That's it for sports. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Darren. After the break, we'll get the latest in entertainment from Andrea Fernandez.
Justin Bieber makes headlines once again, and George Zimmerman will be in a celebrity boxing match. All this and more in your entertainment update.